out of the body. Center for Consciousness Studies.
Olá, estamos voltando aqui com mais Aprenda Projeção Astral.
Today is the sixth and last day of the short course, Learn About Astral Projection. Astral projection is part of spirituality as a whole. The subject is quite broad, and in this short course we address the main points. Later you can attend a presencial course with many more details. This one is just to give you an idea of how important it is to learn more about spirituality and make our lives better. Today, we'll talk about two important things we need to solve in our lives: fear and tension. What do they have to do with astral projection? It's very simple. Fear stops our whole life, our work, our plans and our goals. Tension bothers us every moment of our life, stealing our peace of mind. Right now, I am in a very nice place. It has nature, there's very little noise. You know, high noise levels cause immediate tension. If you live in a big city, just measure the decibels which you are in. You'll find out it isn't a good thing, and your tension isn't related to your emotional difficulties. But this level of noise can negatively impact your mental health, making your unconsciousness, your emotional mechanism, compensate it somehow. Many times the solution is either to block your ears, lose your hearing, or start pouring all this accumulated stress through your aggressiveness, anger and other negative reactions. Let's talk about fear now. Fear may be a real threat or the result of emotional difficulties created by our psychic apparatus. Real fear is caused by a threat of destruction, like when an armed robber approaches, when you are standing on the edge of a cliff, when you are in the water and can't swim, or when a vehicle comes in your direction and you don't have enough time to move out of its way. These are real threats. An emotional threat is something hard to be solved if you don't have someone to help you. The emotional threat is within you. You deal with it every day and it reminds you that it's there. So this is a different kind of fear. We create them over the course of our life, and they need to be analyzed, studied and solved, because they are real-time bombs that will explode only at those moments when we need to do something nice, calm, solve a problem, read a book. Suddenly, they appear. You can't pay attention because you have bouts of jealousy, bouts of anger, desire for revenge and so on. All of these are the result of things we put inside us. It's a good idea to analyze your fears. During the astral projection, they can appear in many ways. We have an unlimited space of imagination for the fears to express. It can be terrible. If you have a positive and happy imaginative process, you can transform any bad thing into a very good thing. On the other hand, if you have emotional burdens that keep bothering you, you can transform anything, even good things, into negative ones, with unpredictable outcomes. Our psychic process needs to be understood. For some people, it happens all the time, especially when you are in bed, relaxing, fear comes and you end up not having an astral projection, because it says, you won't succeed because something will happen. This something is hard to accept. I remember once I read something about Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense. I can't remember the story exactly, so I will summarize it. One day he was doing something that his father didn't like. So, his father said, "You don't know what's going to happen if you don't stop doing this." He suffered the whole day because he didn't know what might happen if he did that. One day he said that he became the master of suspense because it's great to tell someone something is going to happen, and the person has no idea. Then fear becomes so big that you can't even measure it. Do you agree with me? Right now we are recording this video near São Damião. Any noise, let me warn you. It might be some vehicle passing in a dirt road. We are facing a lake and people come here. There isn't much noise, but you should know about it. This thing about Alfred Hitchcock was pretty interesting, because you don't know what might happen to you during an astral projection. You know that when leaving the body, there's another dimension. It's a space that we need to know well, that needs to be well explained. This explanation is not supposed to induce you to create another version. It must be quite clear. Each one of us sees the world differently, so our fears or threats will be different too. If something makes me feel threatened, maybe it won't be the same for you. There are people that aren't afraid of many things we are. I've seen hilarious situations of people afraid of insects, but others can pick them up with their hands. If you read a book about fears, there are many names. Some are so weird that will surprise you. Is there really this fear? Yes, there are all kinds of phobias. Our fears and phobias must not become obstacles. That's why we should overcome them. In order to accomplish it, we need to develop an inner work, dive deep into ourselves. What are my fears and phobias? You can ask yourself, why am I afraid of these things? Maybe this second question can't be answered. Maybe you'll need help, like a psychologist, psychoanalyst, doctor or psychiatrist. But you should really commit yourself to this search because our self-growth depends on getting rid of all those things that are barriers to our mind and body. It's a good idea to eliminate fears and say, "Go away. You have nothing to do with my life. Life should be full of happiness, light, understanding and lucidity." I think many small things turn into big ones and some threats don't need to be in our lives. So, you need to understand your fears. All kinds of fears. There's an endless list of fears. As a psychoanalyst, I see people that have deep problems related to some fears. We don't have difficulties simply out of nowhere. All problems have an origin. This origin is a specific fear or a threat that causes fear. Something like that. It is unhealthy. There's also the tension problem. Our tension is reflected in our body. You have to analyze yourself and check how you are all the time, during the whole day. If you have many inner dialogues, you already have a mechanism to relieve the tension in some level. If you are a controlling person, you are also creating a mechanism to ease your tensions. The things we express through aggressiveness or passivity are mechanisms to relieve our tension. Most of the time, this tension has nothing to do with reality, because you can live in a very quiet place that doesn't cause any tension, but you suddenly feel it inside, then your body suffers a lot. It's not good at all. This is reflected in bad mood, unhappiness, needs. Like our fears, our tension has to be analyzed too. Tension takes you to a critical state, a state that you don't know what to expect, anxiety, a mix of many disorders. That tension is your mind working to understand something, and it wants to show you somehow. So, we're talking about fear and tension. These two things are big obstacles for astral projections. We must solve them. Some may be solved by our own effort and will. So, pay attention, because you may ask, "Oh, but I have fears, can't I have astral projections?" Or, "I am a tense person." Try to solve this, thinking, writing. Put your fears there, and maybe you start seeing things more clearly and solve your tension. Why do I get tense in certain situations? Write it down. We should do this because it helps us see better. One day, you can say, "I will solve it." You can manage it with goodwill. You try once, twice, and say, "Yes, there was no threat there." For example, some people are afraid of a specific insect, and by successive approximations, this insect is put closer and closer, then it's asked to hold the insect with bare hands. The psychologist or psychoanalyst holds the insect too. Nothing happens. Then, the person loses that fear. Fear is usually bigger than reality. It's an emotional thing. Sometimes, reality has nothing to do with a specific threat. It's just an emotional threat. Today we are discussing this, but let me tell you something. You can find our website, social media and contact information below in the description of this video. Our goal is to offer enlightenment and knowledge. If you can help us somehow, with 1 Brazilian real or more, you can make a donation. Just click on the button and make a donation to support the continuity of this work. Donations have been very important for our work. Center for Consciousness Studies is a non-profit organization, and I have been dedicating my life to bring spiritual enlightenment. I would really appreciate any donation to help us keep working harder and better. We also want to make this work internationally known. We have contacts in many countries. We are organizing groups anywhere that there are people interested. If you want to organize a group in your city, in your country, send us an email, talk to us. You can find our website, social media and contact information below in the description of this video. You can contact us and say, "I want to organize a study group," or "I want to become a member." The idea is to reach as many people as possible. You can also participate in our daily laying on of hands, which is an activity that involves many volunteers, and many healings have already taken place. We donate energy through our hands to help people around the world. I honestly don't know who'll be happy with that, but I feel happy with this opportunity. I know that on the last day of our lives, we can't leave here unhappy and upset. When will we leave this life? We should be saying, "I think I've done a good job." I hope you stay with us and keep watching us.
Mas a gente tem que ir embora entregando esse corpo e falando assim: "Puxa vida, acho que eu fiz bem." Eu espero que você nos acompanhe, né? Continue com a gente.